girl who works as a maid starts the story. She is walking through the streets and going to someone's house to ask for work. She goes to the house of Yuki, a high school girl. Yuki opens the door for her when she knocks and she asks him to hire her as a maid. Yuki is shocked, but he lets her into his house. Then he says sorry for the mess and says that his parents aren't there, so it's really bad. Toshiko offers her something to drink, but the maid tells him not to bother her. Still, he gets his favorite drink from the fridge and gives it to her. And he thinks about how he let her into his house without thinking and why she came to work for him while he's away. Yuki thinks she might be trying to scam him or sell him something sketchy, so he asks her a few questions before sending her on her way. He doesn't know what kind of work the maid does, so he asks her about the places she's worked before. She says that she has mostly been an assassin, but she only killed disloyal people who did her boss wrong. Her master told her how to get to Yuki's house. Yuki is shocked by what she says and laughs because she thinks she's kidding. She tells him she's serious though, which scares Yuki, and he decides he needs to get her out of there quickly. She then told Yuki that her master told her to go to his house. Yuki asked her what she meant. She tells Yuki that his grandfather was a woman who lived off of the second son of the cousin of the wife of her master's real child. This makes no sense to Yuki at all, and she feels bad that she asked her any questions. He changes the subject and asks her if she specializes in killing people. She doesn't answer, but instead takes him to the yard to show off her fighting and knife-throwing skills, which leaves Yuki speechless. He asks the girl why she threw the knife during training. She says she thought it would help her show off her skills. In response, Yuki says he doesn't want to kill anyone and doesn't know who her boss is. He tells her he's sorry but can't hire her. The maid then says she's sorry for the trouble, asks to leave, and walks off. She calls out to her as she leaves to give her a hairpin she forgot. There is a car coming and the maid sees it. She quickly runs to save Yuki. She is able to save him, and Yuki is very grateful to her. She is scared because she has never saved anyone before, and her heart is beating fast. He gives her the thing she forgot, and she thanks him before going. And Yuki calls her again and says he needs help cleaning and asks her to join him. She says yes and goes back to the house. She shows him all the knives she brings and tells him that the knife is thought to be the first tool humans made, because it's easy for anyone to use but can kill someone if it's in the wrong hands. Yuki tells her to change the subject and clean his room instead, since it's a mess. The maid is shocked by how many bags are in Yuki's room and thinks one of them might have a body in it. Yuki says that he needs a cleaner because he lives alone and can't handle everything himself. After she saved him, he sees that she's not a bad person. The maid then asks Yuki if he will hire her if she does everything for him. Yuki says he will. What she tries to do with the cleaning tools he gives her is hard. She trips and falls, getting cleaning water all over herself. The maid tells Yuki that she knows he didn't really want to hire her in the first place, which makes her sad. Yuki tells her that she didn't make him do anything he asked her to help. After that, he offers to help her clean. They clean the room together until it looks great. Yuki tells the maid thanks for all her hard work. They notice they're late for lunch when they check the time. It's Yuki's turn to cook, and if the maid doesn't know how, he has a long list of recipes he can use. After taking a short break, Yuki sits down with the maid, tells her his name, and tells her that he is a second-year high school student having his summer break without his parents. The maid makes lunch by cutting veggies with great accuracy, because that's her specialty. Yuki, on the other hand, makes quick miso soup and puts tonkatsu on the side. What does the maid think about it? She thinks she may have eaten something similar before. She doesn't think much about food because she has trouble remembering what she ate. She always saw food as something she needed to stay alive and didn't care about how it looked or tasted. But she tells Yuki that her view will change after she tries the tonkatsu. He says this food was made 60 years ago and that the side dish shop Kitsuda is the highlight of their town's shopping area. The meals are carefully made by Mr. and Mrs. Katsuda every morning, and it's said that famous people sneak into the shop to try their food. He tells her to try the food and tell him what she thinks. After that, Yuki asks what her name is. The maid says she doesn't have one because her bosses used to call her whatever they wanted. He can call her any name he wants, she tells him. Yuki doesn't know what to call her, so he just calls her maid because he's bad at names. The maid thinks to herself that what people call her has never really bothered her. As they start to eat, Yuki asks her what she thinks of the food. She tells him she can't tell the difference between good and bad tastes, but she feels warm and says it tastes great. Then Yuki asks her if there is anything wrong with staying in the last room on the second floor. He tells her that he has already made her new sheets and a clean cover. "You set up a room for me," the maid asks, shocked. The child answers, "Yes." She thinks to herself that her pale skin looks like snow and her heart is just as cold as the snow when she remembers the talk they had about her name. She does not want to be called something that sounds cold, though. He offers her Katsuda's special tonkatsu sauce because he sees that she is eating the tonkatsu without any sauce. She takes it and pours it over the food. When she tastes it, she loves the taste so much. Later that night, Yuki wakes up quickly from a bad dream. He hears something in the kitchen when he goes downstairs. The maid is eating the tonkatsu sauce when he checks on her. Before she leaves, she says she's sorry. Yuki then asks her if she was hungry, since he is also very hungry. The lady says that she doesn't want to die without tasting that sauce again every time she thinks about how any day, even tomorrow, could be her last. After that, she asks Yuki if he had a bad dream. She says that when she went to her room, she heard moaning coming from his, so she quickly went to check on him because she thought someone was trying to kill him. She also told him that the tonkatsu sauce talked to her in a dream and said, "I'm so big that no matter how much you lick, I'll never run out. It's okay to eat a lot," but she woke up just as she was about to go there. He had a nightmare on this day and she was really sad about it. She was even more sad that she couldn't help him feel better. Yuki tells her not to worry because he has been having bad dreams for a long time. He tells her that whenever he woke up crying as a child, he couldn't go back to sleep until he put his head on his mother's lap. That's the end of today's episode of the cartoon. Stay tuned for more shows, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to never miss a new episode. She can't figure out why her heart beat so fast when she saved Yokoya, but not when she killed people. She wants to know why she saved him so quickly. Before putting the trash cans in the bag for the next morning, she plays Fruit Ninja on them. When Yokoya asks her why she does this, she tells her it works out well because it saves space. They see a lost dog right in front of and next to the house. Someone with little money sent this letter and left their dog at Yoya's house. He'll be happy to do it because he believes he is wealthy. But Yuku doesn't want to take it in because she doesn't want it to die of being left alone. But both the maid and her boss have a different view. Her point is that the little dog is an animal, and saving it out of love would make it less able to deal with hard times, making it a little. In spite of all the cheese, Yokoya says he's ready to save the dog when she asks him if he's ready to do that job. She felt bad for him and knew that while someone is in danger, their body would try to save them on its own. But she didn't save him. The maid feels good after hearing what Yokoya said, and he tells her that just like the dog, he knows what it's like to be left behind. After that, he brings the dog inside, where it quickly bonds with him, even though he doesn't like dogs. The maid stays away from the dog like the plague. Yoa tries to let the maid pet the dog, but the dog moves away. After seeing her answer, Yokoya knows that the maid is scared of dogs. When Yokoya starts to understand shame, she finds it cute. But she tells him she will hit it hard if her boss tells her to. And he says he won't. Aide tells him that she was left alone in a mountain with wild dogs that had gone crazy during one of her kill trainings, which makes him scared. Yoka knows how hard it is for her and feels bad that she can't help take care of the dog. The maid is mad at herself because her boss told her it was a shame. She has jugs and a big chest. When the maid tries to hold the dog for the first time, she does so by holding it like it's a live nuclear bomb, which makes the dog shiver. She just nods when Yoya asks her what part of the dong scares her. The girl points out the claw, teeth, and evil eyes, but Duya says he sees something different, like an emoji, which she doesn't get. The dog gobbles on her finger all of a sudden, which makes her start to change the little thing, almost making it into a hot dog. The dog will nibble on Yokoya when it calms down. This will teach Yokoya that it's teething by making it check its teeth. They take it to the animal hospital. While Yokoya takes the dog to the vet, the mother buys things for the dog. Her kindness toward Yokoya and the dog is shown. After everything she's been through, the maid tells Yokoya that she's never met a guy as kind as him. He tells her that her former masters were cold, only cared about getting the job done, and didn't like it when things went wrong. Yokoya, on the other hand, is nice to her even though she does a lot of wrong things. She begs him to let her stay in his new world, which is very different from the last one. The maid wants to be like the dog as she meets him in a nice world. In her world, life is very important. She will be happy if Yoya ever treats her the way she wants after everything. Yoya tells her that all she wants to do is stop killing people and be nice. She had only ever known how to help people get out of debt. She had never thought about it before. She wants to find out more about him now that she has a new boss. This great new world Yokoya says he was scared of her at first when she hears that she is being called a good kid. She remembers the maid from her past. Because of this, she asks him to help her grow up. And he tells her not to worry too much about how she feels when she makes a mistake, even though she doesn't know much about tampons and pads. The dog wakes up the next morning to the sound of her learning. She wants to learn how to cut cabbage and make okonomiyaki. That way she can eat it with her favorite sauce. She freaks out when the dog transmissions to her leg out of the blue. She doesn't think a normal dog could sneak up behind her and attack. The dog is hungry, so she feeds it while it's busy going to the bathroom. She goes to touch the food but stops when Yokoya comes in. He starts to pet the fluffy little thing, and when he touches its fat belly, Yokoya knows what to call the dog. Yokoya tells the maid she did a great job by saying nice things about how she fed the dog and cut the cabbage. The maid jumps around on his leg because of this. Yoya has to make dinner first, so he can't play when Mochi hums and asks to play. The maid tells him she'll take care of it because she wants to be a girl who believes what he says. I use his dad's voice when I tell her that the dog is a lot of fun. Like Yoya did, he trusts her too, so she should fold her 10 folds, fire up her love, and put all of her trust in her master. And it takes M several strokes to get close enough to pet the dog and rub its belly and touch its paw. Okay, now she get it. She learns to trust the little dog in the same way that Yokoya does after being scared of her at first. After she eats the okonomiyaki with sauce, she starts to cream. She tries to say no when Yokoya gives her a second helping, but her body language shows that she's excited about his creamy and saucy dish. She thought this was a good time to do what Yoko told her to do, ask him for what she needs. He's been asked to name her. Yokoya asks her when she was born when he has some time to think. She isn't sure of the exact date, but she knows it was winter. Yoe has an idea, so she names her Yuki, which means take it from the snow. That makes her think of her old boss, who said mean things about her. On the other hand, Yoya likes the snow because it looks pretty. This makes Yuki think of the time she and Yoya built a snowman. There are crazy people who think that snow is nice because it keeps seeds from freezing and helps them grow into pretty flowers, with the cover of snow. After hearing him bark and seeing Yoya clap her hands, Yuki doesn't understand why everything is better when she's with him. She knows that if she stays in his world, she will learn what it's like to be normal one day. Yuki appreciates your call while her Riese is fully charged. She smiles and glitches out after that. That's the end of our show. As soon as new episodes come out, you can subscribe to the station and set your phone to alert you. Our episode begins today with Yuki entering the classroom, surprising Yokoya greatly. The teacher explains that she is Yokoya's cousin and tells her to sit in front of him. Yuki walks over, sits down, and tells Yokoya that she looks forward to taking classes with him at school. Calling him my lord Yokoya, all the students in the classroom are shocked to hear her call him my lord. The scene then shifts outside the school, where Riko asks her brother Yokoya about school. Yokoya asks her if she's the reason Yuki came to school, which makes Riko very happy as she confirms that she is indeed responsible. The three walk together, and Riko comments that Yuki is very diligent and can solve things quickly. Yokoya then asks her how she came up with the cousin story, how she transferred here, why she mentioned her last name as Yokoya, how she ended up in his class, and why she hadn't told him any of these things before. Yuki explains that she managed the transfer using some connections from her secret network, and that the idea of being cousins was suggested by Riko. Since she would be acting as his cousin, she borrowed the Yokoya surname from him. She also tells him that she would be able to serve him better in class. As for why he wasn't informed, Riko thought it would be more fun to keep it a secret from him. Yokoya, annoyed, hits Riko on the head. Yuki has joined the school, and Yokoya tells her that they will have an exciting school journey together. Later they go home, and the next morning Yokoya is at school and asks Yuki what she plans to do for lunch. He plans to go to the store, and she mentions wanting a katsu sandwich. Yokoya tells her that the school offers a variety of katsu sandwiches every Wednesday, but they sell out quickly. She needs to hurry the moment she hears the bell. He adds that he's a fan of the katsu sandwich too, but their class is the farthest from the school store, so even if they left now, they wouldn't make it in time. Yuki then asks where the school store is, and when he points it out, she climbs out the window and heads to the school rooftop. Yokoya tells her to come down immediately so she doesn't draw attention, as it would cause big trouble if anyone saw her. Suddenly, Yuki starts flying over the buildings. Many students race to the store for katsu sandwiches, and Yuki surprises everyone by arriving before them. She then jumps across buildings, amazing everyone with her abilities. She reaches the bread store, orders a katsu sandwich, and takes it back to Yokoya, apologizing nervously for what she did. Yokoya reassures her he isn't angry and starts eating. In his mind, he thinks he would have scolded her for her improper behavior, but her delighted expression makes him unable to be mad. Then Yuki takes a piece of her food and feeds it to Yokoya, who becomes very nervous and flustered. He tells her the food is delicious. Later that night, we see Riko at Yokoya's house, where she'll be staying the night. Yokoya tells her she's visited enough times over the summer break. Riko replies that she likes Yuki a lot and thinks of her as an older sister, which is why she visits often. She then says that if Yokoya marries Miss Yuki, everything will go perfectly. Yokoya, irritated, tells her to stop talking about it. Riko insists that she thinks Yuki is in love with him and is sure of it. She says she understands girls' hearts and knows Yuki loves him. Yokoya tells her that's not true and that Yuki isn't interested in romance or feelings. Riko asks him if he has any plans to marry Yuki, pointing out that their mother would likely approve but is unsure about their father's opinion, as he can be very stubborn. She also suggests that for the wedding, they should have 2 ceremonies, one in the Eastern style and one in the Western style. Suddenly, Yuki appears and asks if someone is getting married. Yokoya is startled, and Riko casually says they were discussing how nice it would be if Yuki became her big sister. She then asks Yuki directly if she likes her brother. Yuki responds that she admires him very much. The 3 then sit together and enjoy their meal. Riko asks Yuki if she ever wears makeup, and Yuki says she doesn't put anything on her face and that her looks haven't been particularly useful in the past. Riko tells her that she's beautiful just as she is without anything extra. Yuki then tells Riko that her face is also beautiful, it's charming and full of expression. Riko thanks her a lot, saying that she usually only hears that from her parents. Yuki then shares that ever since she discovered tonkatsu sauce and started eating it, she feels her skin has become softer. She offers Riko a taste, and Riko takes a piece, commenting that it's delicious. Yokoya thinks to himself, to me, they already seem like sisters. I'm sure it's because Riko was able to easily adjust to our daily life, and it might actually be best for them to stay together. Riko then says to her brother, "You're probably thinking about marrying Yuki now, aren't you?" She tells Yuki that when her brother turns 18, he'll be able to marry, and he could even marry Yuki. Yokoya replies, saying he'd be happy if he had a wife like Yuki, which excites Riko greatly. The next morning, we see Yuki and Yokoya at school in class with a teacher explaining something, but Yokoya is not alert and ends up dozing off. The teacher realizes Yokoya is asleep and throws a piece of chalk at him. Yuki, using her speed, splits the chalk in half, but the pieces accidentally land in Yokoya's eyes. She panics and apologizes, explaining she only intended to protect him. Yokoya then goes to the infirmary, thinking, I told her bringing knives to school is forbidden. But she brought them anyway. As he enters the nurse's office, he meets Nurse Nita, who asks him about his eye problem. Yokoya explains what happened and sits on the bed for her to examine him. Curious, she asks about the beautiful girl, Yuki, wondering if she's his girlfriend or just his cousin, since she saw them arrive at school together that morning. He clarifies that Yuki is just his cousin, not his girlfriend. Nita laughs, commenting that they don't look alike at all, then finishes examining his eyes and tells him she likes him. Yokoya thanks her, but then Nita closes the door and starts getting closer to him. But Yokoya asks her to step back, but she doesn't listen. Suddenly, Yuki breaks down the door, and upon seeing Nita, Yokoya instantly steps away, telling Yuki he was very scared. Yuki then asks Nita what she's doing with Yokoya, and Nita says it was just a funny little thing. She gives Yokoya eye drops, and Yuki grabs hold of him, moving closer, and tells Nita to stay away from him. This makes Yokoya remember his sister Riko's comment that Yuki might be in love with him and protective of him. Yuki and Yokoya leave the infirmary, and on their way back, Yuki apologizes for pulling him out so suddenly and says she has something important to tell him. She believes the nurse, Nita, was practicing her former profession and is likely an assassin. We then cut back to Nurse Nita, who is approached by a black cat. She mutters to herself And here I thought you were here on a mission. Yuki in her glasses, a photo of Yuki, Riko, and Yokoya appears, making it clear she's keeping an eye on them. And with that, our episode for today comes to an end. To watch more episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated with new releases. The episode starts with Yokoya lying in bed at night, trying to sleep early so he can wake up for school. However, he can't fall asleep, and his maid, Yuki, watches him with concern. She confesses to him that she's worried that Nita, the vile woman, might show up again. Yet in a moment of inattentiveness, Yuki warns Nita could attack, and this possibility frightens Yokoya deeply. Yuki continues, explaining that she hasn't been able to learn much about this woman, which is why she wants to act as Yokoya's personal bodyguard. Yokoya, a bit overwhelmed, asks if there's another way that would help him sleep. So Yuki suggests lying next to him. Blushing, Yokoya hesitates but, with no other options, agrees. Yuki assures him that if Tina comes, it will be for him. She promises to stay alert, vowing that even if Tina attacks, she can fend her off with just one hand. She mentions that earlier in the day she only had a small knife with her, so she's proud she managed to scare Tina away. Yuki then reflects, saying it seems her past has finally caught up with her, and that Yokoya is now involved. She tells him not to worry though, because protecting him is her greatest specialty. Yokoya is incredibly important to her since he taught her the meaning of kindness. Yokoya responds by expressing his fear for her safety, not wanting to lose her. Just then, Yokoya feels warm, so Yuki opens the window to check the outside air. She comments that she's watching over him like a bodyguard would for someone important. Opening the window, she catches a faint smell of katsudon sauce drifting in from the main gate. But suddenly, Tina appears, grabbing Yokoya. She taunts Yuki, saying she fell into her trap far too easily. Tina mocks Yuki, claiming her attachment to her fake family has made her careless. Tina can hardly believe Yuki was once called the White Wolf of the Nine Dragons. Tina threatens to gouge out one of Yokoya's eyes if Yuki doesn't follow her commands. In response, Yuki coldly replies that the White Wolf hasn't lost her fangs. Yuki tells Tina she has a matter to settle with her, something very important. She's decided Tina's life must end. However, she admits she's not powerful enough to accomplish this alone, so she plans to borrow Yokoya temporarily. Tina proposes that Yuki come to school the following morning, saying she'll find Yokoya there and promising his safety until then. Yuki recalls her mentor's words, telling her she was born to kill and that the stench of death would always follow her. She now feels that her very presence has endangered Yokoya. She decides she must kill Tina to resolve this situation, hoping that once Yokoya is safe, she can leave the country, and everything will fall into place. She wishes only for Yokoya to return home safely and in good health. The scene shifts to Tina, who has hung Yokoya in the middle of the school courtyard, mocking him. She taunts him, asking if he's scared since his life is now in her hands. Yokoya, frightened, recalls Yuki's promise to protect him, and tells Tina that all he can do is believe in her. Amused, Tina sneers, saying she doesn't care about his life, all she wants is to kill Yuki with her own hands. Tina then reveals Yokoya's ignorance, realizing he's been with Yuki all this time without knowing her true identity. She explains that Yuki, or Shuai, was once known as the White Wolf, a brutal assassin who lived solely to kill. She was one of the Nine Dragons, a deadly clan known as the strongest assassin syndicate in the world. They recruit the most talented individuals from different countries, training them to handle high-stakes missions that have shaped history. Tina adds that various groups oppose the Nine Dragons, hoping to claim the head of a member like Shui to gain reputation, fortune, and power. Yokoya is shocked. All he ever knew about Yuki was that she was a clumsy, expressionless 16-year-old who loved tonkatsu sauce more than anything. Tina admits that at first, she thought Yuki was just someone who looked similar, so she observed her for about 3 weeks. Now, she's certain Yuki is indeed the infamous White Wolf Shui of the Nine Dragons. But Tina recalls overhearing them speak near the balcony and even considered shooting them right then and there. Tina says, "I get it now, there's something strange about you. An ordinary person wouldn't be able to stay so calm, let alone keep up a conversation with someone who's ready to kill them. There's something unusual, something that's melted Shui's icy heart, but this works in my favor. The more people care about protecting someone, the weaker they get. Everyone in our line of work knows that, and no one's naive enough not to take advantage of it. In our world, pride doesn't come with morality. That's why my path to victory is clear." Suddenly, Yuki, the maid, appears, ready to confront Tina. Tina sneers and declares, "Be the first step on my path to my dreams." Tina then fires her gun, but Yuki deflects every bullet with her sword. Tina, shocked, exclaims, slicing bullets mid-run. "Are we in a movie?" But she fires again, convinced Yuki must be dead. Yet Yuki reappears unharmed and strikes back, though Tina manages to block her attack. Hitoyoshi is relieved to see that Yuki is safe, and she reassures him, "I'll rescue you now." Tina, frustrated, remarks, "This is so disappointing. First, you avoid my traps, and now you're treating me so coldly. This isn't normal, you know. You're looking down on me by confronting me directly. I heard you thought you wanted to be normal, didn't you?" Yuki interrupts, "Are you done talking? Hitoyoshi has school tomorrow, and staying up late isn't good for his health. Wrap this up quickly." This angers Tina, who snaps back. "Is that all you have to say? You really respect these people, don't you? But you're making light of this. You're so cold-hearted you don't even care if the boy loses an arm or two." Well, I'm holding back some fun tricks, so don't rush just then. Laser sniper dots appear, aimed at Hitoyoshi. Tina warns, any resistance, no matter how slight, and he'll be left as a torso without limbs. "Behave, and let me crush you to death," Yuki attacks, much to Tina's astonishment. "You didn't even consider his life. You really don't care about him, do you? You've gotten me excited now. If you're so desperate, I'll poke some cute, big holes in the boy's limbs so you can hang him as decor." Tina fires at Hitoyoshi, but Yuki intercepts the bullets with her small blade. Tina is stunned, tries another tactic, but Yuki destroys her phone with a knife. Yuki attacks Tina, who, now afraid, thinks, "She'll kill me. I have no choice but to create an opening and escape." Tina mocks her, saying, "Do you think you can kill me and live happily afterward? No matter what you try, you'll never be Miss Yuki Yoshui. You know this better than anyone. In our line of work, no one ever truly retires. If you fight me now, countless others will come for your head to make a name for themselves. Are you prepared to kill them all?" Yuki responds, "You're right. That's how I used to think. Just kill. Get recognition. That was all I knew. I thought that was where I belonged. But everything is different now. I won't kill anyone anymore, and I won't let anyone die because of me either. And no matter what, I'll protect the normal life I've chosen freely and on my own terms." And a man narrates, "The white wolf, Shui, never lets her prey escape. She'll pursue them into the depths of hell. No matter where they hide, she'll emerge from the shadows and tear out their throats. She's the most terrifying and powerful assassin." Tina, lost in thought, realizes that the legends about Shui's brutal efficiency in combat were not exaggerations. She concludes that Shui Ai isn't just a ruthless killer, she's a relentless woman who won't stop until she gets what she wants, just like then and now. Afterward, Hitoyoshi tells Yuki today was quite the adventure, actually. "I was certain you'd come to save me," Yuki replies, "no matter how many times I apologize for putting you in danger like that. It's my fault. If you wish, I'll disappear." But Hitoyoshi stops her, saying, "Teach me some self-defense techniques. I'm supposed to be a man, so I want to be able to help you, even if just a little." Yuki, touched by his words, agrees and thanks him for accepting her. Narration. Thus the episode ends. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated with all the latest episodes. See you next time.